is here!
The channel we know as Nickelodeon is one that has created many shows and many stars from those shows over the years, and that has left it with quite a legacy. Not the least of which is their ability to go and make new shows almost on a dime, despite them just having a big hit. You've seen it before with shows like All That, The Amanda Show, Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, and more. And another major hit that had was The Thundermans, which lasted for a few years before finally signing off in 2018. So what are the family of heroes up to now? Allow us to show you The Thundermans, then and now. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 11. The Show, an overview. The Thundermans show ran for 4 seasons and 103 episodes. While there are plenty of episodes of The Thundermans to watch in reruns, would you like to see the superhero clan return someday for a new adventure? Or perhaps a sequel series? It's likely more plausible than you think given what's going on with Nickelodeon and its streaming service Paramount Plus as of late. Created by Jed Spingman, the Thundermans TV show revolves around a super-powered family who are trying to live a normal life in the town of Hiddenville. Retired heroes Hank and Barb do their best not to use their abilities, but they aren't very successful. While teens Phoebe and Max are twins, they initially have very different plans for their lives. Phoebe wants to be a superhero so she can use her powers for good, but Max dreams of being the next big supervillain. Younger siblings Nora, Billy, and Chloe also plan to use their abilities for good, and eventually Max follows suit. The show starred Kira Kosarin, Jack Griffo, Addison Reek, Diego Velasquez, Chris Tallman, Rosa Blasi, and Maya LeClark. When the show ended in 2018, Nickelodeon released multiple videos showcasing the cast and crew saying goodbye to one another, which in and of itself proves just how important this show was to all the people who were a part of it. You sometimes don't see it due to the acting, but most times, people on shows like these bond in major ways, to the point where it's honestly heartbreaking for the show to end because they've grown so attached to one another. And clearly, the cast of The Thundermans had a deep connection to one another. So all of that being said, what did the cast do once it all ended? Number 10. Kira Kosarin. Kira did not slow down after The Thundermans. She went on to star in the Hulu series Light as a Feather, and she has also lent her voice to the animated movie Lucky. Not to mention that she's got a new movie called Super Cool that she's currently working on. So yeah, the list seriously goes on. And that's not all. The brunette also dropped her debut album Off-Brand in April 2019, and it's filled with bops. She also starred in the 2021 flick Super Cool, but is focusing on her music career. Which at first might sound odd, but if you look at the history of certain child stars from both Nickelodeon and other major networks, a music career is honestly one of the most sought after career paths. Why? Because as many former child stars have shown, just because you can go and succeed as a kid doesn't mean you'll have the same luck as an adult in the Hollywood world. But with music, it's more about the talent you have than anything else, and if you can sing pretty well, you'll find a following. Just look at Ariana Grande and how she blew up after her time on Nick. So if Kira wants to go and do music instead of acting, by all means. Number 9. Jack Griffo. The Thundermans was just the beginning for Jack. He went on to star in the Netflix series Alexa and Katie and Best, Worst Weekend Ever. He also had 3 movies come out in 2019. Butter, Hark, and Sid is Dead. Jack also started his own YouTube channel, where he posts a bunch of music covers and has hundreds of thousands of subscribers. As for his love life, he dated his Alexa and Katie co-star, Paris Berlick, for a while, but they called it quits, which is a bit sad, but it just means that they weren't right for one another. And as he likely remembered from the Thundermans, you don't want to try and force relationships. Number 8. Audrey Whitby. After the Thundermans, Audrey went on to star in The Perfect Mother and Guilty Party. She also acted in Sid is Dead with her former co-star Jack, showcasing that sometimes Hollywood is a small world in terms of whom you can go and act with. The blonde is currently dating Liv and Maddie star Joey Bragg, and they're honestly a really good couple, which is something we can appreciate on multiple levels. Just saying. Where she goes from here? Who can say? But she has a good head on her shoulders and she'll find her path no matter where it goes. Number 7. Addison Reich. Addison went on to play Kathy in A Girl Named Joe. She also starred in the 2018 movie Banana Split. The actress has also stepped into the fashion world and has modeled for a ton of big brands and magazines, which shows a desire to diversify and use one's talents in ways that wouldn't have been obvious before, which is something that other child stars have done in the past as well. So again, that's to be praised. Number 6. Diego Velasquez. Diego may always be Billy in the hearts of fans, but that didn't stop him from landing a ton of roles after the Thundermans. You'll probably recognize him from his role as Brody in Zoe Valentine. He also starred in a few movies, including The Emmett and All Hail the Squash Blossom Queen. The actor has also gotten involved in photography and recently showed off how talented he is. And that's good. With all that talent, he can go and be whoever he wants to be, and hopefully impress a lot of people along the way. Number 5. Maya LeClark. Maya hasn't done much acting since the Thundermans concluded, but that's because she's busy being a kid, which we dig. That's honestly a downside of being a child star at times, is that you aren't honestly allowed to be a kid because of the schedules you're working. Oh, and she spends a lot of her time promoting kindness and anti-bullying on her Instagram page, which is yet another thing we can dig, because spreading kindness is sadly something that the world has forgotten to do. Number 4. Chris Tallman. After the Thundermans, the actor we all know and love as Hank went on to play Kenneth in Hotel de Lune. That may seem a bit one note, but sometimes things go slow after a show like this ends. But hey, he'll always be super for the fans that know him. Number 3. Rosa Blasi. Rosa appeared on an episode of Modern Family, but other than that, she hasn't done a lot of acting since her time on the Thundermans. But that's because she's busy raising her daughter, which makes her a literal supermom and something that many people could honestly learn from. Number 2. Dana Snyder. The infamous Dr. Colosso has kept pretty busy since the Thundermans. He lent his voice to TV shows like Dallas and Robo, Adventure Time, The Venture Brothers, Paradise PD, OKKO, Let's Be Heroes, Little Big Awesome, and Lego Star Wars All-Stars. He also played Lucas in Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. Dana also started a podcast with some of his friends called Dino and Dana's Safe Space, starring Spencer and Tish, and is hard at work raising his daughter, which is something we can all appreciate. Number 1. The legacy of the Thundermans. So, hearing how the cast ended up, how exactly can one judge the legacy of the Thundermans? Very easily, believe it or not. It went over 100 episodes, which is something that many shows don't get to do. Not to mention, after the show became a hit, Nickelodeon went on and did another superhero show in Henry Danger. So clearly, they thought the superhero sitcom thing could work. It made a lot of people happy, and fans watched it right up until the end. And that's a legacy to be proud of. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the cast of the Thundermans and how they've grown since their show ended back in 2018? Were you a big fan of the show when it debuted? Did you watch until the end? Do you think the show was able to make a name for itself in the long history of Nickelodeon? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.